Coming up, you, the people, have spoken, and now I will answer your social media questions in rapid fashion. And then I'm going to break down the reason why trust doesn't exist in today's workplace. Let's go. All right, I'm the guy who is here to help you win at work. I want you growing personally so you can advance professionally. And then when the time comes, lead effectively. Yes, sir. I want you to grow yourself so that paycheck gets bigger. And so we did something recently. The social media team and Alex, the producer, combined forces, and they went on, the Instagram, the gram, as I like to say, to make my kids roll their eyes. And we said, what do you want to ask me? So we're going to do this. We're going to try to get to, it looks like 9 questions. Rapid fire. So this is fun. I always like a challenge. So here we go. Wilson_65 says, what are your tips to prepare the leap from worker to management? Love this question. Okay. First, I want you to make a list of all the things you dislike about management that you have had, leaders that you have. What did they do that really got you upset, rubbed you the wrong way? Make that list first. We're going to go negative first. And the second thing I want you to do is make a list of the things that leaders have done right, that leaders have done right for you in the past. And then third, after you review both lists, I want you to make a list of the things you want to do or the person that you want to be. Describe it as a manager. I think this is so important. This is part of the preparation process, is to have perspective and to shape for yourself the type of leader you want to be based on what hasn't worked in the past that rubbed you the wrong way. Those are your warning signs. In other words, it's the list of don't do this. And that'll help you look at, okay, this is what I have liked, do this. And I look at both lists and I go, all right, I want to be this. I think that's really huge. Step 2, I'd begin to consume leadership podcasts. I'd begin to consume leadership books. I would go and do research on the biggest frustrations that American workers have. Awareness is everything. And then it takes all of the fear and intimidation away from the idea of leading, because now you know who you want to be, why you want to be it, and just be that. And that will prepare you well. Love the question. All right, next. JDaws123 says, do you put more value into qualifications or on job experience? I don't know that I would pick one of those two above the other. I just think that that is information. Sure, qualifications. Yep, that's important. Experience, important. I guess if I had to choose, I would probably give certain relevant experience a little bit more. In fact, I'm always siding with the questions around what have you done? Did you enjoy it? What part sucked the life out of you? What part gives you the juice? These are things that I would ask people that are looking to do work with me. I want to get a sense of their overall experience and how they view it. Because to me, I'm looking for fit. So if I had to choose, I'd say experience a little bit, but the qualifications piece is a part of your experience. But I'm looking for willingness and hunger. I'm looking for raw talent. So the raw talent that can be trained and developed and the hunger to actually win in the role matter to me more than experience. So that's what I put at the top. Because I can train for the skill if they've got the talent, and previous experience doesn't matter. I cannot train for hunger. You either want the gig and you want it for the right reasons or you don't. And that's important to me. Next, Kristen Bell Rose. Will your new book work for teens? The answer is yes. Find the work you're wired to do. It will work for teens. And I've had a lot of teens take it. And to be completely honest, we have a teen version of the Get Clear assessment. And then the book would work with that. So it absolutely will work. Emily Ritter, 522. What to do when your connection to a company isn't interested in helping. Move on. And what she's talking about here is I'm always telling people, find somebody that knows somebody in a company. So we'll use Ramsey Solutions, for example, and let's say you've got a connection in here and you're interested in getting a job, and you reach out to them and they're not interested in helping. What do? Move on. This would be like if this were a dating show and a guy calls me up and he says, Ken, what would you do if the girl you want to date is not interested in going out on a date with you? I would say, move on. There are other fish in the sea. Like, I'm not the guy who's ever going to go, oh, I'll just keep trying. It's just silly to me. Now, I know that's not very romantic, but that's just me. I'm going to go find some other candidates that will help me. I'm going to go find some other girls that'll go on a date with me. You know, that's what I would do. Let's see. Dawn. Boy, I can't even say that last name, so I'm going to skip that. How do I help my 23-year-old son find his career path? He's stuck. Okay, well, this is my core methodology, and I really would find the work you're wired to do. It comes with the assessment, and what it's going to do is give him, maybe for the first time in his life, and as you as his mom, might give you some handlebars of some real words that we can help him go, oh, I see who I am, and I think it's going to validate who he is, and it's going to give you the chance to encourage him and go, yes, your dad and I, we've seen this, and it's going to measure what he does best, the kind of work that he really is interested in and enjoys doing, and then the results that motivate him. This is the key. Your kid is wired a very certain way, and to the extent that you, mom, can help him see how he's wired, then he can see all the work out in the world that matches up with his wiring. That's what we do. Get the Get Clear assessment in the book. Find the work you're wired to do. All right, the Crumb Picker. First of all, I love that username. That entertains me. The Crumb Picker asks, if you didn't have the current job you have, what would you be doing? I love this question. It's always the same answer for me. I believe it will be the same answer when I am old and decrepit, and that is I would be a basketball coach. There are times where I said, I would be hosting a late night television show. That was years and years ago. But I'm going to categorize that in the same world I'm in now, in the sense. And I think for me, I'd probably be coaching college basketball somewhere. Or maybe I just say phooey on that. I'm not going to travel and recruit all the time. I'm going to coach high school players. I love the game of basketball, and I love coaching people. So that's what I would be doing. Next, Allie Stutzer asks, how to network with people in an industry I have no connections in. She's talking about singer. Okay, so I'm assuming she's talking about the music industry, so how to network. Okay, this is great. So first thing I would do is I would look at my own zip code. I wouldn't think LA, New York, Nashville right away. And they're absolutely there. Those are major music capitals. You can certainly say Atlanta as well in certain industry. So what I would do is, because most people think they got to go somewhere to move up somewhere, and eventually you do. But initially I'd look at my own zip code and I'd go, are there recording studios? Are there background vocalists doing stuff here? Is there a concert promoter here? I just want to see who's in the music industry in my zip code. I'd start there. Because here's what I know. If they've been in the music industry a long time, they probably have relationships in those major cities. They have relationships in the industry, and sometimes it blow your mind that a music producer could be right under your nose. So I would be LinkedIn, talking locally. I'd get in the music scene locally and find out who is a player in the music scene locally. And then if I had to, I'd start considering, again, I don't know what your family situation is, I'd move to Nashville. I mean, everybody that waits on your table here in Nashville is a world-class musician. And that's the truth. If you don't believe me, ask next time you're in Nashville. Just ask. If your waiter's not in the music, is not a great musician, they'll point you to 3 other waiters in the restaurant that are. People are here. Why? Because it is the music capital. So at some point, maybe you make the move, or you go on some vacations, or you do some maybe some volunteering at a music festival or whatever. I would just get in. And by the way, I did this in broadcasting. I mean, I just got in and volunteered and found my way on the air because I was just like a little cockroach, just wouldn't go away. I don't know why I just called myself a cockroach. It's kind of gross, but you get the point. I just was always crawling around the edges, and I got in. Okay, MNS Racing _936, the most complicated username I've ever read, but it works for him or her, and they say Coleman for president 2024. Wow, I'm flattered. The answer is not interested. It's a pretty big pay cut, is the first reason. Secondly, the environment is not ripe. But if Joe dies and Donald goes to jail or dies and they can't come up with any good candidates, and we had a really significant write-in campaign and I got the gig because the people spoke, which they will not, I would do it. But I just gave you a ridiculous scenario, so of course the answer is no. But I will say this because I've never said this publicly. I would absolutely really enjoy the job. And I'd do it very well, just to be completely honest with you. Speak the truth. By the way, I'd be the first president ever to do an entire State of the Union without a teleprompter, and Alex can vouch for that. I would not use a teleprompter out of principle because I would want the people to know that I was speaking from here and here. And oh, by the way, that's what I do all the time. And I do it just to show off, probably. There you go. All right, last one. Elena G. Butler says, I'm an HR coordinator, no degree. Should I go back to school to help me level up? Only if it's the only way to level up. So if you're looking at the path forward in HR and the only way for you to move up is a degree, then yes. But I can tell you it's probably not. But that's how I want you to weigh that. And if in the world you're in, they're going, a degree is the only way to punch a ticket to move up, then yes. But I would tell you to be patient, to pay as you go. Don't go into debt for it. It's never going to be worth it. So there you go. All right, fun stuff. I believe that's from Instagram, at Ken Coleman. You can follow me on Instagram. I do answer my own DMs and would love a follow and love to talk to you over there. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Well, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Hey, if you are enjoying the program and you would love to help us spread the word about what we're doing and how we can help, please do. If you're watching on YouTube, you do that by giving us a thumbs up on the video you're watching, subscribing to the channel, and with one click, you can share one of the videos. And then if you're listening via podcast, give us a follow, a 5-star review, and share as well. Thank you. Okay, I set this up at the top of the show. The reason why trust is fading or eroding in the American workplace, and there's one reason. And I think leaders aren't aware of this, and leaders can fix this. And so this is pro-leader, not anti-leader, but I just think that leaders aren't aware that the problem with trust not being in the workplace is actually pretty simple to fix. Here we go. Let's talk about where we are at. Gallup, 23% of workers agreed with the statement, I trust the leadership of this organization. Oh my gosh. Only 23% of American workers trust their leaders. Now, is that because we have a lot of dishonest, unethical leaders? I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I don't take a piece of data like that and go to the nth degree. I don't think it's that intense of a problem. I don't. And I'm going to reveal what I think it is. And I don't think it's sinister. I don't think we just are overloaded with leaders in America who are dishonest and unethical. I just don't. I don't think that's true. I think it's a much simpler reason why only 23% of American workers trust their leadership. And here it is. If you don't trust the people working for you, they won't trust you. It's that simple. I believe that you can be the most stand-up, high integrity, high character, just generally a pleasant person in a leadership role. But if you don't act in a way where your people feel that you trust them, they won't trust you. Like you really could be a world-class person. Just here we go. But if you're a micromanager, they won't trust you. You could be a genuinely kind person, and no one questioned that you would steal or do anything untoward in the workplace. But if you always step in and take their decision-making away from them, they're not going to trust you. If you treat your people very well in the sense of how you talk to them and all those things, but you make everything come through you and you're the bottleneck on decision-making, you're a little paranoid, they won't trust you. They won't fully trust you. I dare say you could be in a situation as a leader where I could go poll your team and they go, I like them. I just don't really trust them. Now, a trust issue isn't always on an ethical issue of that you are cheating them or that you are out to get them. It could just be they don't trust your leadership ability. They don't trust your decision-making. That is just as harmful for a leader and their ability to influence their people. You will not be able to influence them, and that's what leadership is, unless they trust you. They will not fully allow you to influence them and fully allow them to lead you if they don't trust you. And that's trusting your ethics, trusting you as a person, but also trusting your leadership skill. It's the equivalent of a basketball team calling a timeout. Coach calls a timeout. Got one last play to draw up. And the coach gets out the clipboard, and the coach draws up a play. And this can happen all the time. This is a micro-trust issue. In fact, if you've ever seen the movie Hoosiers, fabulous movie. It's my favorite all-time movie, okay? And the very last scene of the movie, Gene Hackman's the coach, he calls a timeout, and they got their star players, a guy named Jimmy Chitwood, okay? And he draws a decoy up because he thinks they're going to be keying in on Jimmy. And on the surface, that makes sense. And so he goes, we're going to give it to Merle. He's going to get the shot. And the team is just like, they're all looking at each other in the huddle going, I don't know. And he sees it. He sees the lack of trust. He sees it. And beautifully in the scene, he goes, he's starting to realize that they don't like his play. And instead of going, this is the play, come on, go do it. There's a pause, and it allows the star player Jimmy to look at the coach and say, I'll make it. And then Norman Dale, the coach, played by Gene Hackman, receives that comment, and then he says, okay. And that's him showing trust. But he saw they didn't trust, and so he trusted. Jimmy, he wants the ball. The team wants Jimmy to have the ball. I'm going to trust these guys. I'm going to let the play go. That's trust. That's established. Now, I'm just giving you a movie scene, but it really beautifully illustrates that leaders, you've got to lead. In other words, don't ask people to do what you don't do. Don't ask them to trust you if you are not trusting them. So how does that look? What's that look like? Well, you know what? When something goes wrong, don't blame them. Support them. Go, what didn't they have? What was my role in their mistake? Make them feel safe and heard and seen in the midst of a mistake and something that went wrong. Well, that lets them know very quickly, he is for me winning, and he's not against me. And so instead of getting in trouble, I felt safe and protected and coached and cared for. It's huge. How about this? How about looking at yourself Asking them to tell you where they think that you don't show trust. Ooh, how about that? How about a 360-degree review that's maybe confidential and go, hey, look, I want to get better at trusting you all. Tell me where you think I could show more trust. That right there, just that question will increase trust. And then you get the answers and go, okay, my team thinks that I should trust them more on this, this, and this. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work on that. And I'm going to do that. And here's what will happen. The more trust you show, leader, the more trust they will return to you. Trust starts at the leadership position. It grows from the leadership position. And trust, when it is allowed to just flourish and grow in an organization, is absolutely gold. It is golden glue, if you will. It will glue a team together and unite them, and it is special to see. A team that trusts each other is a team that will build each other, and ultimately the company will build. So there you go. That's why trust doesn't exist, because leaders aren't trusting anybody else. Why would they? Why would your people trust you? You don't trust them. This is the Ken Coleman Show. All right, it's time to actually coach Melissa up. I love coaching folks. Melissa's joining us in Des Moines, Iowa. Melissa, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, thanks, Ken, for taking my call.
You bet. What's going on?
So I have a business degree. I graduated college about 15 years ago or so, and I've been in the same position in an office environment. And I'm wondering, I'm kind of feeling a pull to do something else, and I'm thinking about going back to school for nursing. Completely different.
Love it.
But I would, if I went back to school for nursing, I'd do an accelerated program since I already have a bachelor's degree and do it for a year, but I'd have to leave my job. I do have a family. I have 2 kids still in school and a husband. Or I could just continue working and do it for 2 or 3 years and just do nights and weekends. And I'm thinking, I'm kind of weighing my options, trying to figure out what I want to do or if that's what's best for my family. And I'm kind of feeling guilt about doing it as well, because I'm going to miss out on some things, and it's going to be probably pretty difficult for the next year or 2.
That's right. How old are the kids?
I have one that's in junior high and one that's in late elementary.
Okay. So the one in junior high is, and again, I don't want to make a generalization here, but certainly with my 3 kids and every parent I've talked to, they get in junior high, they're already pulling away from you. And they get into high school and they go in their room and disappear. I don't know if you've experienced that yet, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So I actually think from the junior higher, soon to be high schooler, I don't think that's that big of a deal. As far as them becoming more independent and maybe you missing some things. You've been in their life, you've seen and done everything up to this point, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
And I think them seeing mom make a really awesome pivot, an intentional pivot, a difficult pivot, them watching you do this, and at the same time seeing that your heart hurts when you're going to have to miss some things, I think that's going to build your relationship with them. I think they will admire you more than they already do. So that's just parent to parent speaking to your heart. I think if you communicate it, you communicate the what and the how and the why to them. Like, this is what I'm doing. This is how it's going to look. This is why I'm doing it. And it's going to be hard for me emotionally because of this, this, and this. And it might be hard because it's going to be really different around here. Here's what your dad and I have talked about. Here's how we think the schedule is going to change. I just think clear communication. I think kids are so adaptable. I think it's going to be okay from the kid standpoint.
Sure.
Okay. Does that help? Do you disagree with that? I mean, I think that the emotional for everybody is not that big a deal. I think it's the financial issue is the biggest one. I'm coming at this the way I would with Stacy and I. If Stacy were in your shoes. So have you and your husband talked about, let's go with option 1, which I think is preferable to you, just listening to you talk. the 1 year sprint, but you're losing your income. Have you guys talked through that and managed it to say, okay, this is what this is going to mean for our life?
We haven't done pen to paper, but we have. I mean, we could do it. Like you said, it would be difficult financially. We're not
How difficult? I think that's important.
Yes, I think it is too.
Like for instance, if it's uncomfortable, I'm still in. If it's excruciating, I'm not sure.
Yes. I think it would just be uncomfortable.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Would the 1 year version be easier on the kids instead of nights and weekends?
Yes. I think it would be much easier on everybody emotionally.
Well, I'm leaning towards the 1 year program. My question is there kind of a mixed strategy? I'll tell you where my head's at. Tell me what you think. I wonder, do you stay at the insurance job for X amount of time? You will determine this. And you guys go ahead and make the cuts or some of the cuts that you would plan to make. So in other words, you adjust your lifestyle to what it would be without your income, or maybe half. I'm making this up. Could be 25%. This is why you guys got to put some pen to paper on this. But what if you make the adjustments financially, but mom's still around, so the kids are like, woohoo, still got mom. Rockstar's still here in all the capacity. But you guys start making financial cuts so that for a year or X amount of time, you fill it in. You stack the cash so that it's a little bit less jarring when you go full time.
Yes, that's a great idea. We haven't thought about that, but yes. So
maybe only half. So instead of the full 100% uncomfortable cuts, maybe we do 50%, but that allows you to save up maybe half of the nursing tuition so that it never gets really uncomfortable. And so that's just going to require patience on your part, but you're still young. I did the math. I know about how old you are. So that's an option.
Yes, I like that option. I think that's a really great idea.
Oh, okay, great. And to me, that lessens the blow, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Talk to your hubs about it. Let's run the numbers on that.
Okay. Okay.
And by the way, I'll add another one that I don't think your heart's going to like, but you could sit tight for 2 years and stack all of the money up. Or could your hubs take on some side things? You know what? I don't know. My point is, the more you save towards the 1 year program, the less of a blow it's going to be financially.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know why I like that idea? Number one, it's easier on you and your husband as a team and the household budget. That's a biggie. But I think I'm excited about you being like completely guilt-free. And you're just like, I'm going after nursing and I don't have any emotions telling me, well, this is selfish because we're not making as much money. Like, we got to get that crap out of your head. And I think it helps with that.
Right.
You know, for you to be all in on nursing and sleeping very comfortably at night, I like that. That's worth the wait for me.
Yes, I agree.
All right.
I think that's a great idea.
Melissa, I think we got a plan, don't we?
I think so, yes.
You are the best. Thank you for calling. Folks, sometimes patience is absolutely the secret sauce to getting where you want to go.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.